god. Loki wanted to say hi for this 31 Nights of Horror episode. Look how big he is. He wanted to say hi. Say hi, Loki. Hi everyone, what's up and welcome back to my channel. As you guys saw by that intro, Loki is literally ginormous. He's so big. The first time you guys saw him, he was super tiny, and now he's almost 4 months and is a giant. Anyway, today I'm going to be talking about one of my favorite horror movies of all time, and I will be getting into spoilers in today's video, so if you haven't seen Get Out, please do yourself a favor and watch this fantastic movie. I'm so excited to dive in and talk about Jordan Peele's Get Out. There's so much to talk about, and before I get started, make sure to let me know down below what you guys think of Get Out. If you've seen it, I'd love to hear all about it. Now that Chris and his girlfriend Rose have reached the meet the parents milestones of dating, she invites him for a weekend getaway upstate with her parents, Missy and Dean. At first, Chris reads the family's overly accommodating behavior as nervous attempts to deal with their daughter's interracial relationship. But as the weekend progresses, a series of increasingly disturbing discoveries leads him to a truth that he never could have imagined. So as I've been doing recently, every single time I do a horror movie review in 31 Nights of Horror, I'll be giving you guys a scare meter. And for this movie, I'd give it about a 5 out of 10 on the scare meter. Definitely super creepy. I think that's like the biggest thing, and this movie kind of just stays in my mind. Like, I kind of think about the things that happen in this movie and I'm like, you know what, people suck. But I think for the most part it's creepy. It's not really gory. There are a few, you know, bloody elements into it, but especially towards the third act, but it's not really gory, and there's also not a lot of jump scares if that like gets people. So yeah, I'd give it a 5 out of 10 on the scare level. In my opinion, Jordan Peele made one of the best horror movies to come out in recent years, and I consider Get Out a modern classic. One of my favorite things about it, and trust me, in this video I'm going to say favorite a lot because literally the entire movie is just a big pile of my favorite things in horror, and the way Jordan Peele moves the camera in this movie is phenomenal and one of my favorite directed movies ever. I just think it's so smooth. I think a lot of times directors forget how to make a movie flow with the camera work, and Jordan Peele does that effortlessly. And this is just a little observation I had when I rewatched it recently. We had to watch this for a film class, so I was kind of looking a little bit closer than usual to just analyze certain elements, and the opening scene basically reminded me a lot of Halloween, the 1978 classic. And I don't know if anybody has ever thought about this. I don't know if Jordan Peele was inspired by John Carpenter, but a lot of the camera movements, like the subtlety in that one scene, reminded me a lot of what John Carpenter did with the camera. And I'm kind of gonna put side-by-side comparisons to what I mean. It's not like identical. It reminded me of that, and that just leads into me saying that I love how subtle this movie can be in its camera work, but it still says so much. For example, there's so many wide shots in this movie, and I noticed them a lot more upon rewatch, and all of these wide shots kind of almost foreshadow what's going to happen, because especially when Chris goes to meet his family and Rose goes to greet her mom and dad and stuff, it's a wide shot when we first meet them, and you know, I think if the filmmaker wanted to show that this was a close and happy family, they do a tighter shot to kind of show their interactions. We get this wide shot and it feels as if we're very far apart from these people, and it kind of foreshadows how Chris will never get close to them because these people are literally insane. And I also just like the importance that's set with the house even at the beginning with the wide shot, because you kind of get to know that evil is lurking all around. And when I was saying that it reminded me of what John Carpenter does in the original Halloween, it's because I really like how that movie is directed, just because we get almost this sense that evil is everywhere, and I got that same sense in this movie with the camera work, the wide shots, and I just really enjoyed that. But when Jordan Peele does do close-ups, he does them gracefully. It almost just makes it even more suspenseful, more awkward, you could even say, because we're kind of just in this moment that's very deep. A lot of that happens a lot in the hypnotizing scene with the mom. I love that scene. It adds so much to the movie. First of all, just to develop character, because we kind of get a backstory to who Chris is without a whole load of exposition in some clunky dialogue, but it almost feels natural to the plot because this woman is just taking it all out of him. And we also kind of see his weak spot, and that's always something really important to establish with a protagonist. And I think Chris is an incredible character because he grows, we learn from him, and he's just a great character, you know. I'm just gonna end it on that. Jordan Peele also wrote this movie, and I think he also did a fantastic job with the screenplay. I believe this movie did win Best Original Screenplay at the Academy Awards, which I think it totally deserves, and in my opinion, I wanted it to win Best Picture that year, but It's fine, it's fine. The Best Picture winner of that year was good anyway, but Get Out will always be better in my heart. I think this movie is really cleverly written, especially because you're almost in the same position as your main character. You never really know what's going on, and I think that's awesome. It doesn't totally work out in every single horror movie, but in this case it works out because they resolved everything so well. The third act is crazy. It answers questions that you had. It even answered things you didn't think you had in your head that you were like, why is this happening? It answered it. I remember when I first saw this movie and the ending, I was just like, what the hell is even going on? Like, when Rose, she wouldn't give him the car keys, and that shift in expression that she had was brilliant. Like, I still scream every single time I watch it. Like, it's almost like I'm like anticipating that moment because it's such a high point in this movie, and Allison Williams acting in that moment is just perfect. I thought it was excellent. And just since I'm talking about acting right now, I need to obviously praise Daniel Kaluuya. He does an incredible job as the lead in this role. He sells the emotion, but he also sells in the action, and he's just a really great character to root for. The ending is also one of my favorite endings in a horror movie because it feels so satisfying and because this character truly deserves it. I don't think every single final character in a horror movie deserves to survive because sometimes they're just not interesting characters, and I don't care what happens to them. In this case, I cared a lot about what happened to him, and I just really am glad that he made it out okay. Well, maybe not okay. He's a bit traumatized, but you know, he's alive. I also loved Lil Ray in this movie. He did a great job, and what I like about his character is he's almost like the voice of an audience. He's representing us, the viewers, because as I'm watching this movie, I have a lot of thoughts, as many people do when they watch horror movies, and we kind of just yell at the TV. We're like, why are you doing this? Why are you going to her house? He was kind of our voice. Like, he was speaking for us, and I loved him for that. He was incredibly funny. I think the comedy in this movie is gold. It's perfect. It hits right where it needs to hit, and I just really liked him as the sidekick. I thought he added a lot to the movie. A lot of times, main characters, sidekicks don't really do much, honestly, but I think he did a lot in this movie. Also, Lakeith Stanfield, you know, he also did a great job. That scene when he's like yelling, get out, and like his expression changes again is incredible. I love that so much. And I do want to say, I think it was an incredible idea from Jordan Peele to show us this happening at the beginning with this character that we don't know about, and then they don't bring him out again until maybe the second act, the end of the second act. I thought that was excellent because it's almost like you kind of forgot about it, but then you see this guy and you're like, wait, you've seen him before, and it makes you feel just like our main character in this movie, Chris, because he's like, have I seen you before, man? And you know, you kind of feel the same way. It's what I'm saying, that the audience was put at the same pedestal as our main character, and that's brilliant because even with his character that you know was abducted, but you don't really know if it's him because he looks different, I just loved all of that. I love how they kind of connected almost everything that the main character was feeling with our feelings. And the rest of the cast in this movie is also great. I think they all played their parts extremely well. I also really love the score for Get Out. Michael Abels, he composed the score, and it's so good. And I also really like the soundtrack of the movie. I think a lot of the songs that they used kind of foreshadow and relate to what's going on, and I think that's what makes this soundtrack so great. And the editing in this movie is also just fantastic. The way they cut between scenes, like one of my favorites is the scene when they're doing the bingo game, and it slowly starts revealing that the person they're auctioning is Chris, and you were kind of like, what does this even mean? Because you still haven't really put all the pieces together because you don't have all the pieces yet. I love the way that scene was edited because it kept switching between something else. It's just, this movie is just done so well, and what I really just love about it, I feel like I'm repeating myself, it's so subtle. It's not playing really loud music whenever there's supposed to be something important. It doesn't try to freak you out, you know, in a forced way. It feels natural. From the moment this movie begins, the tension starts building in your body because you're like, what is happening? You don't know who kidnapped this guy, and suddenly we cut to this other guy, and he's about to go to his girlfriend's family, and it's so good. And I love, again, the twist of the girlfriend. I personally, when I first saw this, never thought that Rose was gonna be as evil as she was, honestly, but that's my fault for trusting her. And something else that I like, so I don't know if this was intentional, but I like that her name is Rose because, you know, roses are super pretty and they're really nice to look at, but they have thorns and they can hurt you, and I wonder if that's intentional, you know, because Rose, you know, from the surface she looks nice, and you know, Chris likes her and stuff, but she cuts deep. Like, she literally tried to kill him. Get Out is honestly Get Out is, in my opinion, an incredible story, and one that really needs to be told because I think it says a lot of important messages but doesn't fall flat at all. I've rewatched this movie a lot of times, and every single time I watch it, it gets better better because there's always different things that I pick up on. This most recent watch, I, for whatever reason, never noticed, but one of the guys who's the, I think he's a lawnmower, at the end, Rose says to him, get him grandpa, like that's her grandpa in him. Like what? I literally never even thought about that. Like I guess that line just went over my head, but it's just cool things like that. That's why I love this movie so much. I definitely recommend this movie to every single one of you. I'm going to give Get Out an A+. I feel like I haven't given a movie a perfect grade in a while here on my channel, but Get Out is perfect, honestly. I cannot think of a single flaw, and I'd love to hear your thoughts down below in the comment section. I'm gonna repeat it again. Go watch it. Thank you guys so much for watching today's video. I hope you guys are having fun and enjoying 31 Nights of Horror so far. I'm having a lot of fun talking about horror movies, and if you guys are having fun too, you guys should subscribe if you aren't, like and comment. It helps out my channel a lot. And just before I go, thank you guys so much for all of your support. I say that in every single video, but it's true. You guys are awesome, and I'll make sure to see you guys in the next one. Bye everyone.